Chapter 1. Before we met the Tiger King. To the dismay of my crumbling sanity and research, began when Matt arrived in Kentucky. I was dealing with a European snob who had a twisted perception of America. One of the first things he said to me was, "Let's go eat. I want McDonald's." I got out of my car and gave him a hug. Years had passed since we had last seen each other. "Whoa," he said. "Don't kiss me, I'm Polish, not French." I laughed. "I've been doing research on hippies. It just seems a normal way to greet friends." He smirked in contempt and said, "Let's get food, I'm starving." Since he didn't have a vehicle and there was no transportation services in Middlesboro, I was his only way around town, so I obliged and took him to get some fast food. The whole time he was telling me about his jobs in Europe. His voice grumbled in what he thought was an English accent, but to most Americans it sounded like a blend of Czech and German. "I started out in the UK, but I worked at Burger King because pay was much better than in Poland. I got $10 an hour making burgers. Eventually I saved enough to buy my first camera." My mind drifted in and out of his words as my eyes scanned the road and surrounding area. The neighborhood we drove through had houses and large yards. They were separated by great lengths. When we got closer to the main part of town, everything had a gloomy appearance. Buildings were closer together. They seemed much older. In downtown, the buildings were so close, some were sharing bricks. From what I observed, most towns in Appalachia are like this. Matt continued. "When I first started cinema, I'd record bands and show them after they played." He paused. "What's the word for when you... how do you say it? Do?" "No idea." He looked frustrated as we got closer to the business district. Buildings were further apart because of parking lots. There were signs everywhere. Everything was lit up. I drove towards the giant glowing M, where he'd buy his McDouble. "When they liked what I showed them, they would hire me to make them music videos. You see, it's that easy to start a business. I had 2 jobs. I saved to move back to Poland and start another company, one of my own." I didn't eat McDonald's and I didn't want to order for him, so when I got to the drive-thru, I leaned my seat back so he could order a meal. He shouted over my chest to the microphone. I didn't have to look at him to hear the mirth in his voice. On the way home, Matt joked with a paper bag lifted up, "It's stuff that pretends to be food." I'm sure his statement would have sounded more eloquent in Polish, but in English, this was a comical truth. After he got his meal, he said, "Let's go back to my house parents." I wasn't sure if this was some kind of Polish means of speech, but house parents made me imagine a woman giving birth to a small house. He was referring to the family who fostered him when Matt was an exchange student. From what I saw, they were nice, but I chose to refer to them as his American parents. "You'd love Poland. Every woman is beautiful. There are memes. Here, look." At a stop sign, he showed me a picture on his smartphone. The photo was split in 2 segments. At the top were Polish women who were very thin with natural blonde hair. At the bottom portion had morbidly obese women wearing 2-piece swimsuits. Their skin was rippled and dimpled and their hair was over-bleached with dark root exposed. "We don't have McDonald's like this, so we're not fat. We eat real food." I didn't eat fast food unless it was given to me. Even then, I would mostly refuse. When Matt and I got back to the house, he went inside. We took off our shoes, went to the kitchen where he ate his burger. He said, "Can you just imagine a film of the way a meal comes and goes?" "No." "Wear a GoPro, eat it, then go to the bathroom and take a It would be hilarious. It would probably win an India Film Award. At least go viral on YouTube." In my mind, I was thinking, stuff like that would get him banned. His American mom walked in. She seemed to agree with him, nodding her head as if this was something she'd watch. The obscene images in my mind made my stomach sour. She walked out, and Matt whispered, "She's not fat, but she's not like a regular American. They're more European." I was quiet. What he was saying was highly biased and filled with hatred. And my whole deal as a sociologist was to help bring neutrality and understanding, to reduce bias and stereotypes. My goal was to educate. He smiled with lettuce in his teeth. His blonde hair, blue eyes, and pale skin elicited wonder within me as to why most Polish people look like this. Was it the German purging of Jews and people with dark hair and dark skin? Those with dark eyes and hair fled the country with the Jews because they were next. People like me would be subjected to discrimination for not having light hair and blue eyes. Matt asked, "Why are you so quiet? Is something wrong?" "No." He looked at his phone and said, "I tried contacting people, but nobody wants to see me." He was perplexed at the idea of people ignoring him or finding excuses not to visit. Most were probably overweight or black. He and I spoke to the same people in high school. I knew my friends, who used to be acquainted with him, wouldn't like what he had become. Nobody likes a racist unless they are racist. For that to work, they must have the same ethnic identity. Matt was Polish to them and to most everyone else. When Matt wasn't around, our white friends made fun of his name and how he spoke. They'd make jokes like, "How many Polish men does it take to screw in a light bulb?" I defend him. Those jokes don't even make sense. But Polish people are stupid. Have you heard him talk? He messes the same words up in English because he isn't a native speaker. But he writes it better than most Americans. Try talking to him on Facebook Messenger. I'd always try to say something like that to open people's minds.